What's up guys, my name is Matthew and today I'm going to be doing the new... What the fuck is it called? Hey guys, what's up? My name is Matthew and today I'm going to be doing the BookTube Newbie Tag. I tried to memorize that and say it out loud 15 times. I fucked it up every time, so I had to read it. But I'm going to be doing the BookTube Newbie Tag today. And I've watched a lot of them recently because I'm trying to find new booktubers and kind of get an idea of what these videos are. And every time I watched it, I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, this person seems really interesting and we probably have a lot in common. But the questions for the newbie booktube are so general, they feel almost kind of like an awkward interview. Why do you want to start a booktube? Because I like books? Like what? So what I decided to do is I threw all those questions away. And what I did was I wrote out questions that I thought would be interesting to hear other people answer. And I wrote out the questions without answering them, set the questions aside, and then the next day went through and answered them myself. The reason I did it separately is because if I knew if I was making the questions and then at that moment trying to answer it, I would delete questions because I didn't want to answer it. So the rule was the next day I came back to it and I had to answer it. And it was so much fun. So I hope this video kind of gives you an idea of the kind of books I like and what to expect from my channel. Okay, so the questions are going to start pretty general and do overlap, I think, with the regular questions that the newbie booktube tag talks about. But the first question that I'm going to answer is list my 3 favorite books of all time. And I wish I would have given myself more than 3 books, but I only gave myself 3 books, so I had to pick. And what I came up with, and what I think does a really good job of summing up my reading taste, because it's, I think, yeah, 3 different genres. Yeah, so 3 favorite books are probably The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Duh. I mean, I think this is everybody's favorite book, and if it's not, I'm confused. So that's literary fiction. I read a lot of literary fiction. My second favorite book is probably Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I am a huge thriller fan. I read mostly thrillers, and that's kind of where I started reading thrillers, and I've kind of branched off from thrillers. And then third is Red, White, and Royal Blue, because this is the cutest freaking book I've ever read. And yeah, so I do read a little bit of romance, especially male romance. In this tag, I'm not going to describe the books because most of my answers are for books that are very, very popular because I'm basic. And well, I like the popular books. I'm not going to pick out books that are unknown just to sound cool. The next question is, who are your favorite booktubers? Okay, I watch a lot of booktubers, but my top 3 are probably Gabby Reads because our reading tastes are almost identical. Her romance is a little different. Her romance taste is a little different from mine, but thrillers were for the most part spot on. So I watch all of her videos. I like Noelle Gallagher because duh, it's Noelle and she has like the greatest. She should honestly be like on TV or something because she has such a great voice and so easy to listen to. And then third is probably Jack Edwards. All right, the next question, what book or series got me into reading? And I had to step back and like really think about it because I've been reading since I was really young, but I didn't intensely start reading until about middle school. So in middle school, we had 2 English professors. Well, I guess they're not really professors. Are they called like teachers in 6th grade? Yeah, so I had 2 English teachers. And my teacher was making us read like John Steinbeck books, which is not for me. And the other teacher was having their class read Agatha Christie and Then There Were None. And I was so jealous because all the other kids in the class were talking about how, they're trying to figure out who the killer is and Then There Were None. So I ended up reading that book with that class even though I wasn't in that class. And then I read so many Agatha Christie books. And she really kind of introduced me into thrillers. And my favorite Agatha Christie is definitely The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. And if you have not read that book, Agatha Christie created one of the most popular thriller twists in that book. And she wrote this book way in the past. And I remember being in like 6th grade and reading that and seeing the twist. If you've read the book, you know the twist. And just my mind was blown because she just broke all the rules. Now we see that same twist used in so many thrillers that's overdone. But she did this twist way back in the day and it was so good. And I credit Agatha Christie, the late Agatha Christie, for all of my love for reading. All right, next question is favorite fictional crush. This was the one that I was like, oh, I don't want to answer this, but I wrote it, so part of the rules are that I have to answer it. Okay, so once again, I'll talk about Red, White, and Royal Blue. Honestly, love both of them. Honestly, I like fictional characters more than real people, so I have a lot of crushes when I read books. So my top 3 would definitely be Prince Henry, because he's adorable in Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I cannot wait to figure out what actor is going to play him in the movie, because they better not mess it up. And my second crush is Joshua Templeton in The Hating Game, because y'all, this book is so cute. If you didn't have like butterflies or were like giddy when you're reading this book, you're lying, because this is the cutest book. The way their relationship starts and just the flirtatiousness, the funness, I have such a crush on him. He's so cute. He's not real. He's a fictional character, but he's cute. Apparently, you can be cute if you're a fictional character. And then the last one, and this one probably isn't well known, is Luke in Top Secret. I'm actually going to describe this book because I don't think many people have read it. This book is about two frat brothers who meet on Grindr and they don't realize they're talking to each other. One of the frat brothers has a girlfriend and one of the frat brothers is openly gay, I believe. And the two frat brothers are actually competing to be the president of the frat. And they're competing in real life, but they don't realize they're talking on Grindr and like developing feelings for each other. And this book is so freaking cute. If you haven't read it, it's adorable, and I don't think it's that well known. Gabby Reads, it's one of her favorite books, and thank you, Gabby, for recommending this because it's one of my all-time favorite male-male romances. But anyway, my favorite, so one of my crushes is Luke. He's scared of his mom, and he comes from, you know, the sad past, and he's just such a good person, and this book is so good. I'm gonna reread this book soon. But those are my top three. Prince Henry, Josh from The Hating Game, and Luke from Top Secret. I really hope I can edit this because I am really bad at editing videos, as you can probably tell watching this. The last book that made me cry. I don't cry often. Like it takes a lot to make me cry, and it takes a lot for a book to make me cry. But I read The Nightingale finally by Kristen Hanna. I know I'm like way late to the game. Didn't this book come out in like 2015 or 17 or something? But oh my God, this is the saddest freaking book. And the scene that got me is like very end. And I texted one of my friends. I'm like, oh my God, The Nightingale made me cry. And she was like, good, it means you're not a sociopath. People who don't cry during this book are broken. And I was like, well, I'm probably broken, but I still cry. But yes, this book is so sad and so well written, and I need to read more Kristen Hanna books. But Kristen Hanna's books, from what I'm getting, it's a mood, and I have to be in that mood, and I just can't pick up a big old Kristen Hanna book without being in that right mindset. All right. Ooh, I like this question. I like this question that I wrote myself. So cocky. Okay. If I could have dinner with any fictional character, who would it be? My answer is gonna have to be the famous Evelyn Hugo. Like, I mean, this book is so good and she's so interesting, and I could do 3 more books of just talking about Evelyn Hugo because I thought that character was so interesting, and I wish she would have asked me to interview her instead of Monique in this book. I think that's the girl's name in the book. Is this not a TV show? Like 7 episodes. Like, why hasn't Hulu or HBO picked it up? Like this is made for HBO. I'm just very confused because this is one of the best books of all time, and Evelyn Hugo is one of the best fictional characters of all time. But is she fictional? Okay, now the questions are gonna be a little controversial, and when I mean controversial is that, like, I guess they're more negative. Does that make sense? Okay, trigger warning. Popular author is not for me. And I wrote this, and like I said, I was just like, I don't know what I would go for that. And I really thought about it, and I came up with the perfect one for me. So this is a thriller author, and I think it's a boy. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but Alex Michaelides. Okay, don't get me wrong, I've 3-starred both of his books, and I think his writing is fantastic, or her writing. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy. Oh, he's actually very attractive. Anyway, so Michaelides, I think he's a great writer. Both these books have been 3 stars for me, and I'm just so confused because everyone on BookTube is like, oh my God, that twist. Both of his books, I have guessed the twist. I mean, obviously the twist has more details than just but the main twist of each of his, The Silent Patient and The Maidens, I guessed the twist, and I was like, this is not that shocking. But maybe that just means that me and Mr. Michaelides think similarly. I don't know, but like for me, I'm just like, oh, that was the twist. Yeah, I saw that coming from a mile away. But everyone else is like, oh my God, that blew my mind. I'm like, really? You read a lot of thrillers and that blew your mind? That being said, I think he's a great writer. Don't want to be negative, but it's not my favorite thriller author, and everyone on BookTube raves about him. But I will read all of his books because, you know, solid 3-star. What popular book did I not enjoy? Okay, so this is probably gonna make people like click the X button or like, you know, burn down my house, but I'm nervous saying it actually, is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by Schwab. Don't get me wrong, I think the writing in this book was beautiful. I was just bored to tears during this book. Like, it took everything in me to finish this book. I was so bored. And if you read the description, like, oh yeah, girl, if you meet her, you won't remember her, and she doesn't die. I'm like, this sounds great. And I picked it up, oh my God. I couldn't get through it. It was just too much for me. Y'all, my cat is just staring at me, very confused as to why I'm talking into my phone. That's okay. I have Vicious, also by V.E. Schwab, on my to-be read list, but I'm really scared to pick it up because I'm like, if I didn't like this book, would I like Vicious? If I don't like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, will I like Vicious, or should I just stay away because this author is clearly not for me once again? Okay, Victoria Schwab. So maybe this author isn't for me. I think she's a really good writer. I was just so bored. Maybe I'm just dumb. She writes very prettily. She writes very elegantly, but it wasn't for me. Okay, next question is, what book made me so angry while I was reading it? I have two answers for that. The first one is one actually I just read, and it's pretty recent. It's Yes, Daddy by Jonathan Parks Ramage. And this is a book about a gay man who meets a very successful, I think he's a playwright. I don't really remember what he did, but he was very successful. And this guy starts dating him, and this book gave me a visceral reaction. I have never been so angry. It's so short, and I kept having to put it down because it brought out a lot of anger, and I was just very frustrated. And if you've read this book, you know, it's one of my least favorite characters in this book. The older man who seduces this younger guy who came from a religious family, who threw him out of the house. It really was painful to read, but it was a very good book, but this book made me angry. And my second answer is actually Playing Nice. I don't have that book because I think I rented it. I think I borrowed it from the library, but that's a book about babies that were swapped at birth. They find out the babies were swapped at birth, and the parents are trying to meet their real kids and get the kids to know each other and swap the kids so they can meet their biological parents. And it really makes you think, what would you do in this situation? And just like in Yes, Daddy, I had to put that book down so many times because one of the fathers in that book is a raging narcissist, and made me so angry. The book made me so angry. I was very happy with how it ended. So that if you have not read Playing Nice, you have to read it because it's so good, but it will make you very, very angry. Okay, last question is, what book have I been putting off? And where is it? Oh, definitely A Little Life. Okay, I've had this book on my shelf for a year. I watched literally all of you on your BookTube's reading blog on reading Little Life, and I watched all of you cry, and I just can't get myself to read it. I know I'm gonna love it. I know it's gonna be one of my favorite books of all time. I just don't know if I'm in the right mindset for it. And from what I've heard from all of you is that you need to be in the right mindset, and I don't know if I ever will be, but I need to read this because I know I'm gonna love it. But yes, that is the book I've been putting off, and I need to read it. So that was my newbie BookTube tag. I hope that it was okay that I created my own question. And I hope you got to kind of get a taste of the kind of books I like to read, kind of my opinions on books, whether you hate me, because I don't like The Invisible Life of Adam. I don't even know the name of the book. Or if you hate me because I don't like The Invisible Life of Addie Larue, sorry, it wasn't for me, and it's everyone's favorite book of the year, and I think there's something wrong with me that I didn't like it, so I'm sorry. But I'm super excited to be on BookTube, and I can't wait to post more.